Hello everyone, Steve from Tech Toy Tinker and Retro Arena. Today we're releasing the 235RC version for the Odroid Go Ultra. There's been a lot of updates and changes to this build. Most notably here, well not most notably, but notably, we got the latest version of RetroArch 1.14.0. We've done this for both 32 and 64-bit, and thanks to some help from Johnny on Flame, we've been able to go back and make GLES work properly for both now. One of the other features that I've done here, I showed this off a bit in the last video, but I've added a lot more systems to the list that you have here. All these are listed as 2 because they play using RetroArch. A new feature I've added to this build is I put RetroRun is the default launcher for Yabasan Shiro and Flycast. So Naomi, Atmoswave, Saturn, and Dreamcast. Those will all launch using RetroRun. If you would like to use libretro, you simply go in here after you've done all your setup, your first boot, you've set up your SD card with your games and BIOS and everything. You go in here and you run this RetroRun linker, and what it'll do is it'll create a symbolic link to each of the folders, but it'll point them to a different listing in the emulation station config. And that listing will be, I did it with N64 as well actually, because N64 uses standalone Mupen. So if you want to do it, you go here if you want to use a core. And you go here if you want to use the standalone. For Dreamcast, Naomi, Atmoswave, you go to the normal listing if you want RetroRun, and you go to the libretro listing if you want libretro. I did that so that we could use both simultaneously. I'll fix it properly later so it launches through the emulator settings, but it's a whole other different set of scripting I have to do in the back end. It's not part of emulation station itself. I have to write custom scripting to get it to launch both. I will get there, but I wanted to get this working first. I've temporarily used Mega Drive Japan listing for MSU. I will talk to JetUp and get it added to the theme for the next release. I added the loading thing after I uploaded the image, so it's not in the current image. It's MSX, so it might be a literal minute. Just giving everybody a chance to see all of the different systems that are here now. I added Cool CV Core, which is an alpha version, but the reason that I added it is because it's able to play ColecoVision Super Game Module titles. And there's several users that constantly ask about it in the videos and in replies to things, so I figured I would just save them the trouble and add it. I'm not going to go deep into gameplay in this video. I wanted to do a general overview of the build as it is and what's in it right now. Konami and Tiger and General LCD games have been restored to working as well. You get the idea. I'll stop when I get back to Super Nintendo, but I realize I kind of skipped through a lot of these because I was racing ahead. Nintendo DS is using Drastic. Now, the reason why I'm stopping at Super Nintendo is because it's a good place to give an example of something here. Now, there's RetroArch 32. So I'm going to go 32, and I'm going to use the SNES 2005 core. So as you can see, I'm able to use RetroArch 32. I no longer am obligated to use 64 if for some reason I decide I want 32, or if I decide that it's got better performance perhaps, which I haven't tested yet, but I think that might be the case on Dreamcast. It has been on other devices. What I mean is that in the emulator settings here, if I go down to Dreamcast, I can now choose RetroArch 32 and Flycast, and it will work.
Versus SNK.
Like I said, I'm not going too deep into the gameplay in this video. Just wanted to show everybody how things worked and what things were looking like. I still need to add Ports Master, Theme Master, OTA Updater. I also plan at some point in the near future to get the video playback working again. And just do some general overhaul things, make things nicer. I need to add Adventure Vision and a few of those advanced MAME systems back as well. Also, non-year MAME does work, but it's not set up to launch through anything in the front end. I am using it for the LCD games, and I can use it for arcade games. The reason why I haven't included it is because if you don't use the right ROM set, so if you try to use a really old, outdated set that's not going to launch, it'll just hard freeze the system for some reason, and you have to forcefully restart it. So for that reason, I decided that it was too easy for user error, and I just didn't allow easy access to it. If you know what you're doing, you can use the libretro GUI and access it that way. It's a 64-bit core. So I think by this point we've got a good idea of what's here and how things are working now. There's been a number of changes since the last build, but I feel that they're very positive changes. They've made things work a little better. They've given more options, more functionality to it. In some cases, added more systems back to the device. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. That's just a quick update to let you guys know what I was working on. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care.